And some of the guys did come in and top off.
Including the 32 car of James Busher. Busher still on the lead lap, running in 15th position. Brad Coleman, the last car on the lead lap, with 16. Coming out of turn 4, the 73,000 plus on their feet again as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. It's Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Scott Wimmer, Brad Keselowski, Jason Leffler. That's your top 5. Again, Kyle Busch just begins to pull away. Joey Logano right with him. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
With Harold Holley, the crew chief of the 66. So we saw the incident on the track. Assess the damage for us as Steven came in.
Caved the right front fender in pretty bad, but Steven's doing a really great job in the Jimmy John's or Monte Carlo tonight. We just been a little bit free in. We fought this car at Nashville a little bit. We had a little bit of trouble with it tonight, but we finally got it good enough there where we could get the lucky dog, and had a great pit stop right there, and felt like we was going to be able to beat the 99 out of it, but Steve was warming his tires up and the 60 blew in there and knocked his right front fender off. So I really don't understand what went down there, but you know, we'll just do the best we can do with it.
Guys, the 66 just warming up his tires when they said Edwards came up and slammed into him. That was Harold Holley's explanation and the explanation of driver Stephen Wallace.
So as usually happens, 2 different versions of this thing, and until everybody sees the videotape, they may not know exactly what happened, and who knows if Carl even knew he was 2 laps down. We just won't know for a while.
You know, sometimes you just call that racing. That is just hardcore racing. These guys got together. Let's move on right now. That's what they need to do. Get it out of their system. You got some time yet to make this thing up.
And that's a battle for 5th, so that's where we're going to move on to, because David Reagan is trying to get around Jason Leffler.
These guys are going at each other. Talk about hardcore racing. These guys are doing it right here.
Yeah, they really are. Jason's had some time in his car. He's not cup racing this weekend. Got it handling good. And David Reagan, who had a bad qualifying run, has been working on it.
Check it out here for the lead.
Look at this.
Joey Logano on the outside.
And he makes it look easy as he goes on the high side of Kyle Busch. So Joey Logano, who led early in this race,
baby. Good job. You're the man.
for 22 laps, now takes over the lead. Kyle Busch had led for 85.
Now, you got to think, is Kyle Busch going into a fuel conservation mode here and just let Joey Logano pass, or, you know, did he really have that strong a car?
Well, we have to watch some lap times right now, Andy, because, I mean, that last set of tires they put on it could have been a system where it's just not handling right. And Joey's obviously handling perfect right now. We're watching his lap times. That last time by was about 0.3 of a second faster than Kyle.
Save that right front for me, baby.
Save that right front. These cars have a tendency to really push the front ends, and if you push it too hard, you can tear the tire up.
Okay, how do you actually do that as a driver? When he says save that right front, and I've done it before. I've told my guy, save the right front. How do you actually do it?
You just can't don't overdrive the car on the entry. Don't drive it so deep, and don't put a lot of wheel into it, Andy. I mean, just don't steer it that much. And if you got to run a little higher on the track, go ahead and do it. Just don't abuse it. Now, a driver can feel that, and he can control that with his brake and his gas pedal.
Take a look a little bit further back. That battle for 5th place continues to unfold as Reagan continues to try and close the gap with the 38 of Jason Leffler. Right in front of them is Brad Keselowski, our winner from last week. Leffler gets a little high. You're looking back from Keselowski, but Reagan can't sneak the car underneath.
I've been watching Jason Leffler run this car. He's been running up a little bit on the racetrack, especially in 3 and 4, doing maybe what you're saying, Rusty, trying to save that right front.
All right, let's get an update on Kyle's condition. Is there anything wrong with this car out there, Shannon?
Well, we're down here with Jason Ratcliffe, crew chief for Kyle Busch right now. Seems like you guys have lost a little momentum. What is Kyle saying about this car right now?
Well, we've been a little tight all night, and we've just been sneaking up on it, making small adjustments. But we felt like that's probably going to be our last stop, so we wanted to make sure we went far enough. Right now, he's just a little too free. Hey, it'll come to him. We'll be good at the end.
And do you think you guys have something for the 20? Can you retake the lead from the 20? Can you guys retake the lead from the 20? Do you feel like you guys are strong enough to retake that lead?
I mean, both those cars are they're identical, you know, so I think so. it's just going to be a matter of you know, how the cautions fall, if there's any more, or if it goes green, and we'll see.
All right, we'll let Jason Ratcliffe get back to work, get Kyle Busch back to the field, guys.
And while he's getting back to work, Brad Keselowski dropped 2 spots as it was David Reagan getting around him, as well as Jason Leffler. So moved Leffler up to 4th, Reagan to 5th, dropped Keselowski down to the 6th position. They're all still chasing the Joe Gibbs Racing duo of Joey Logano, who now has a ½ a second lead over Kyle Busch. What's going to happen? Will this end up being a fuel economy run, or will it be a sprint to the finish?
42 laps to go in the NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-miler in Kentucky tonight. You're looking at the race for the lead. Joey Logano in the 20 and the Sprint Cup Series championship leader Kyle Busch in the 18. The man who's won everything about there is to win so far this year. You think Logano cares that that's Kyle behind him?
I think he cares not. The youngster has got his foot buried in it. He is running a smooth line, holding a pretty wheel. Oh, Kyle's going to have to get up on the wheel to get past this youngster.
Joey doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention to who it is he's racing around these days.
I don't really, think about who I'm racing against. I mean, you're not thinking about, it's Casey Kanan, Kyle Busch, or Tony Stewart, Frank, all those guys. You don't really think about them, and they all put their pants on the same way you do. So it's not that big of a deal. There's still 43 cars out there like every other week.
And if you want to win these races and beat these guys, that's the only way you can think about it, is not care who it is that's behind you, like Kyle Busch. Let's go up to speed and get some updates on some of these front runners and contenders for the win. Mike, you got the leader.
And the big word hovering over Joey Logano's head since he's made his debut: pressure. I asked his crew chief, Dave Rogers, at the beginning of the week, what's it like having a kid who has all this attention being paid to him, people asking only in his 3rd race, when's he going to win? Well, Dave said that's an unfair question. He said also the guy who's asking that question the most is the guy who's driving the race car. Logano believes he has the talent and the capability to get to victory lane very quickly. It could happen tonight. He thinks he can go to victory lane. He has enough fuel to go the distance. Shannon?
Well, Mike, Kyle Busch has been very quiet on the radio since Joey Logano took the lead. The last word from that 18 car was that it was a little bit loose. Now, this 18 team has finished 2nd in this race the last 2 years, so certainly this team wants to break that trend and go to victory lane here tonight. Mike?
The key moment, perhaps, for the 29 of Scott Wimmer and crew chief Pat Smith came 2 pit stops ago when they elected to stop for fuel only. It gave them a lot of track position and has put them in contention for the win. They've been running inside the top 5 since. Wimmer's been pretty quiet, pretty content with his car. Jamie?
And behind him, Jason Leffler, last pit stop, 136. His crew chief, Paul Wolf, told me they were about 7 laps short on fuel. He said, we have gotten terrible fuel mileage tonight. However, we had that caution flag. They were out there for about 4 laps under caution. Paul told me they're going to be real close. Jason Leffler right now, they need this top 5 finish. I asked him today, he said, we had the worst month of May. We lost so many cars in crashes. He said, this is the only car we have right now. Shannon?